This week I learned never, ever start a home project that's going to steal your entire weekend. Hey, what's up, bookworms? Mike back with another weekly update. I know this is a little late because my office was a mess and the closet needed to be reconstructed, and I decided, I'll just take care of that real fast. It took me 2 days to do everything because everything was everywhere, and I didn't think you guys wanted me to record like that. But you know what? Hey, everything is back in order, and we can get on with the weekly update here. So let's begin like usual, guys. Talk about what am I reading. I did finish the Dungeon Anarchist Cookbook by Matt Denneman, book number 3 in Dungeon Crawler Carl. Now, I expressed my concern last week that, look, I'm having fun again. That's what I wanted. I said I wanted the series to stay funny. I wanted to get back to what made me laugh. With book number 1, it was doing that. But I also said, but you know what? I'm starting to wonder if there's a plot here, because it feels like everything is just, hey, batshit crazy fights and power-ups, and then on to the next one, and then repeat. Literally about 2 chapters after that, something happened that chapter 23, and if you know, you know, there was something that happened that was like, oh, wow, there it is. And then it kind of took off. Now, look, I'm going to be straight up that the train thing never made sense to me, and I never tried to understand it, because Matt at the beginning of the book tells you it's okay if you don't understand it. He barely understands it. When you started adding in gates and portals and all this stuff, and the NPCs getting false memories, it's like, okay, whatever. I will say, the plot picked up to where there is a greater overarching plot now that I want to see, and that's what I was wanting. But as far as this level, not a fan. It just seemed like hey, we don't know what to do with this train. Let's blow it up. That's kind of what felt like the whole story of this book was. So while I didn't like it as much as book 1, I liked it a lot better than book 2. And because you kept your 2 lead characters together, I like that. Katia has some great moments in this book for sure. I like going back and thinking about my biggest criticism outside of the things I mentioned was just what happened to Mordecai in this book, and really it just kind of sidelined Mordecai for the whole book, and I get you got to do that sometimes, but I was I like Mordecai the character a lot, and I like him being there more than he had been in the first 2 books, and then he just kind of, oh no, he's not going to be here more than the first 2 books. So it's cool. I like that. I like that he continues to build up this world, these power sets and things like that. I'm laughing the whole time. There's some really good achievements, some really, really good items in this one, and I like those things. And again, it had a moment that had me literally jaw dropping on the floor. So I liked it a lot. Going to be continuing, obviously, with book 4 is, Gate of the Feral Gods, I believe that's what it's called. And you feel like they kind of hinted at some things in book number 3, and I like that. I want to have those hooks leading me into the next level. So there's lots of things that it kind of opens up that I can't get into without really getting spoilery here, but I'm liking it. I'm liking it. My biggest concern does seem to be answered, and everybody has told me, after this is where it just takes off with that plot that I've been hoping for. And I'm hoping now I'm back. I'm going to be back now to being well, I hope it stays funny. It doesn't get too serious. So I know it sounds like I'm trying to, cake and eat it too, but as I always say, I like cake, so why not? But I do like where book number 3 went. Again, it doesn't touch book 1 for me, but I do think it was leaps and bounds better than book number 2. And the arrow is pointing up on this universe. I'm very excited to see what does come next. I also finished Artificial Condition by Martha Wells. This is book number 2 in Murderbot. And I was saying that the Apple TV series had me interested in continuing. It's really short. I read it in a day and a half here. It's one of those things where I wonder how, because I'm reading it now thinking about the TV show, and I'm I don't know how they're going to actually adapt this into a full season. I'm wondering if maybe book 2 and 3 they're going to have to combine to make a second season, because it has been renewed for a second season. But as far as this book goes, because there's not a lot that happens in it. This one is very much about, okay, this is the Murderbot's new standing in life. Okay, what does it do with this standing now? What does it do to try to appear more human? I think the best parts of the book are the dialogue between the Murderbot and Art, which it's short for something, and I won't ruin that for you because I feel like that will ruin the book for you. But it's short for what he calls this thing. It's pretty good. It made me laugh every time I thought about what Art actually stood for. But it definitely is not as humorous as people led you to believe, and I think if you go into that approach it that way, it's not supposed to be humorous, I think you'll like a lot more if you're not expecting to laugh, because I could go back and think about maybe I was just missing the humor in book one. And then I said with this, well, maybe just don't look at it as trying to be funny. And I don't think it was. Again, this is very much about this robot trying to find his way in life after some major stuff goes down with, the expectations of him, the restrictions that a sec unit has in this universe. So I liked it, but I'm starting to wonder if maybe this is going to be a show-only series for me, because while I didn't hate it, I'm not really itching to read book 3, and I think it's just because they're so short, it doesn't give you really enough time to get interested. And I mean, it looks like they might revolve the cast every one of these books. I don't know if that's enough time to get me interested in those characters in under 150 pages. I don't know. I know there are full-length Murderbot novels later in the series, and maybe it might change then. But these are so short, I'm definitely not ruling out continuing. But right now, I'm kind of like, I don't know. It's fine. It's fine. It's kind of the same as I said for the first one. It's like I didn't dislike it. I just kind of like it's fine. And like I said, I think sometimes it's okay to say, hey, like Silo, I didn't really care for the book, and where I said, I think I'm going to be a show-only person with Silo. I think it might be the same with Murderbot, because I think that the first season of Murderbot did find a good balance between the humor and when stakes are serious, and you don't muck that up by making it funny. I think that they did a really good job with that, of balancing it, because a lot of things, it's super tense. Let's make a joke to let everyone know it's going to be okay. I don't feel like they do that on the show. And this, that isn't here at all, I don't think. I didn't find anything humorous in this one, but again, no one really, I don't think Martha Wells said, yeah, these are comedy novels. I think that's just like the reputation it got, was that they were funny. And I don't know where that really started. Probably Reddit, since, Reddit is Murderbot's a Reddit darling. But I don't know. I did like it. I think I probably liked it about as much as All Systems Red, which again, I didn't dislike. I'm just kind of wondering what draws everyone to this series, because not a lot's happening. And I think I got to blame the page count. I feel like these need to be a little longer to get you kind of interested and attached to the human characters like you are to the Murderbot. So we'll see. We'll see. I don't really know where I'm going to go after that. I don't know if I'll pick up another one this year or not, but again, I'm not ruling it out. So if the story does progress in a way where it feels like these things I'm upset about are actually answered, like Bat Denneman series did, then maybe I'll actually resume it. We'll see. But you guys let me know. Please give me some feedback on Murderbot. Still working my way through Dark Tower number 7 here, about the halfway point. Again, not a ton really to talk about. Because if you're talking about book 7, it's hard to get into it without spoiling things. So I'll save that for when I do my Into the Multiverse on book 6 and 7. Just know that the same things that bothered me then are bothering me now. But I think I'm approaching this a little different than I did Song of Susanna, because I was like, that's like the main plot that I can't get past this. It's just little things that bug me with this. Focus and some decisions on some characters that bother me quite a bit. Yeah, I'll talk about that when I get to Into the Multiverse. But just know I'm still working about halfway through it, and I'm just going to kind of continue to do that over the course of the month of July around other things. And that leads me to what am I going to read? Now, obviously, continue working on Dark Tower 7, but I'll be picking up my next Malfi, which is Bone White, a story that a lot of people told me that they think that I should have started here when I first picked up Ronald Malfi, but someone sent me Come With Me, so I was like, that's what I was going to start with. And Come With Me, I liked it, didn't love it. And then I read Blackmouth and loved it, and that has opened the floodgates here for all things Ronald Malfi. Now, I don't think that he's wrote a book that I've disliked yet. I've liked some a lot more than others. With this one, I don't know where I'm going to fall. Reading the synopsis, it kind of sounds like those Andrew Z. Thomas books that Blake Crouch wrote, but I know that they're very different writers. And again, I think I just kind of keep joining them at the hip, because I had kind of the same journey with Blake Crouch that I have with Ronald Malfi, where I just can't stop reading their books. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing. But this, high praise comes for this one. And a lot of people told me that it's a grand slam. I'm going to like this one. And I'm like, well, yeah, it's Ronald Malfi. Of course I'm probably going to like it. That's a given. It's not really a mystery. If I find myself flying through that, I think maybe the next Driss book would be what I get to after that, which is Starless Night. That's book 2 in Legacy of the Drow. Never meant to take that long of a break between, because like I said, it has those breaks in the sub-series, like the Realm of the Eldlings did, where you can take the breaks between those. I never meant to read one of them and stop. So I'm going to kind of try to fix that and see that I get through Legacy of the Drow this year. And again, Driss books are super short and they're super fun. And I think I'll be able to get through them super quick. And that's why I've kind of added those to the old TBR. How about this week on the channel? Did a couple of things. Did my book haul, obviously, for June. My opportunity to say thank you for some of the incredible things that I did get. Got lots of feedback on the A Blood and Bone series, John Gwynn, that I did get sent by Broken Binding. Again, does Broken Binding ever really miss? Book 2 of the Rift War series, what was it, Silverthorn? Absolutely amazing. They continue to hit home runs all the time. But really the point of book hauls is for me, an opportunity for me to say thank you, but also put a spotlight on some of those independent authors, those self-published authors. They're trying to make their way, and it's my great pleasure to try to show their books off and have you guys hit the link and check out their series because, yeah, I want to see everyone in this business succeed and to chase your dreams and not rely on traditional publishing if you do not have to. It wasn't on my channel, but I was a guest over on Thomas Howell's channel, and I think Thomas and I are like complete opposites in the approach we take. Like I get told I talk too fast, and Thomas gets told that he talks too slow. He has a much more chill vibe on his channel, but I thought that was a good yin to yang kind of meetup between us. I think Thomas is a really great guy, and I'm loving seeing him get into some of these series and stuff that he hasn't before. I really sold him hard on Watership Down and that he had never read Watership Down. And he actually that he had never heard of Watership Down. I was like, oh my gosh, man, you've got to get on that. So he was actually taking notes and adding some things to his series, but a fun conversation. I think he has you want a channel that is really just relaxed and chill. I mean, Thomas is one of the best. This guy, he's about to hit 10,000 subs. It's awesome for him. So again, like I said, very different personality types, I think, because again, I get told I talk too fast and he gets told he talks too slow. And again, I think that was a great meetup for that reason because really awesome guy. And I hope you guys will check out his channel if you haven't. Did books that I am most excited for this fall. Now, I was looking ahead and I was like, look, every month there's books that I'm excited about. But I was like, if I look at the rest of the year, because I did my, halfway point of the year, my best stuff so far. And I was like, what am I most excited about for the rest of the year? If I could pick 10 books in the rest of the year, if I'm doing 5 or 6 a month, I could pick just 10 for the rest of the year. Which are the 10 I'm most excited about? And that's what that video was. And it's also kind of just saying, look, everyone's putting out massive chonker books later this year. And thankfully, I've been lucky enough to get some review copies of some of those. So I might have to try to stagger some of these releases because everyone's dropping them in November. 1,000-page books are all dropping them in November, and I can't obviously read them all in November. And I will try to kind of balance those out a little bit, but not all of them are chonkers. There are some other series on there. Like there's some from my Permanent Ink video from last year that I still want to get into, and there are a couple of shorter ones on there still. And I'm excited about all of them, obviously. But those are the 10 that say, right now these are probably the most excited I am. These 10 books right here. And I hope you guys will join me for some of them. Over on Mike's Media Reviews, I did an actual long movie review. And I don't usually do that. I mean, my wife and I always do the spooky season stuff, but we try to keep those like 10 minutes long. We're talking about movies that aren't really usually new. It's not every day that I go see a new movie in the theater. I think I go to about 1 or maybe 2 a year. And this year we chose Superman to go see the new Superman movie. And I talked about it over there on Mike's Media Reviews. Very long review. Talked about what I liked, what I did not like, and why it has me very optimistic for what is to come with James Gunn's new DC universe. Because I'm a DC Comics fan in the end, and I was very happy with what I saw in Superman. We'll talk about that more in a minute, but if you want like that longer, in-depth review, it's over there on Mike's Media Reviews. 20+ minutes just talking about the movie in non-spoiler format. Hope you guys will check it out. How about some next week plans, guys? Got a couple of things. I've been so busy this weekend here cleaning up everything that I didn't have a ton of time for planning. Still trying to work out a Talk About Nothing. I don't know if it's going to happen. Patrick and I are still trying to nail down a time that works for both of us. That's the thing about Talk About Nothing, especially when you're on completely different sides of the globe. It's hard to get your schedules to work out. So I don't know if that's going to happen this week, but hopefully it'll happen this month sometime. I'm thinking about doing, I've talked all the time that I think that tropes is a bad word. I don't really ever think that tropes are bad in fantasy, but yeah, I have some things that bother me. A lot of it's with modern fantasy, but that's not really a dunk on modern fantasy tropes kind of thing. There are some tropes I'm tired of. There are some tropes I think, please stop, get some help. There are some things that really fire me up in a way to be like, please stop doing this. It makes me want to stop reading your book. So it's not really as negative as it sounds. It's just these are some things that I personally would like to see less of in some fantasy books. And we'll talk about that. I don't really know what maybe fantasy tropes I'm tired of. I don't know exactly what I'm going to call it yet, but there are some tropes that I think have overstayed their welcome, and I wouldn't mind see them going the way of the dodo. That'd be really, really nice. But, obviously, it's not going to be the same for everybody. Some people can't stand any tropes. Me, I'm like, look, tropes are what brought me to the genre. I love The Dark Lord. I love Farm Boy Leaves Home. I love Stranger Comes to Town. There's some other things that have seemed to become quite prominent that I'm not nuts about. And we'll address those in there. But outside of that, I don't really have a ton of plans yet. We'll kind of make it up as we go. How about some TV and movie talk here before I go? I'll give some more Superman thoughts because I know some people aren't interested in 20-something minute movie reviews. So there's like some quick thoughts. I like the movie a lot. I'm a huge DC Comics fan. I am so disillusioned with what has happened to superhero movies the last 5-6 years. Really, since Endgame, it's all been downhill. For me, it's just, I liked Man of Steel, and I didn't like Batman v Superman, and then I hated Suicide Squad, and I was like, what are we even doing anymore? And I really just kind of lost faith, and it went from the point to where I was saying, I want these things to be, I couldn't wait for these things to be made, to now saying, please stop making them, please stop, because they've just been so mediocre, so mid, so axe grindy, and all these things, and now James Gunn comes along with a character that's maybe one of the most popular characters in all of pop culture and makes a really good, bright, hopeful, optimistic movie that was a ton of fun for everybody. And in today's world, that is an incredible, incredible feat. I think I checked this morning, and I think it was 93% audience score, and that's with all the people who were really mad they didn't bring Henry Cavill back review bombing the movie. That's incredible. That's universal acclaim. I think the critics are sitting in the low 80s, which again, the way that they treat DC Comics movies, that's actually quite impressive as well. So I was really, really surprised with like the pre-backlash that this movie has got. None of that stuff is there, guys. None of that stuff. I even voiced my concern about the super shit thing, and I got dragged for it. And okay, I understand when you guys did that. I was voicing my concerns because it was everywhere, but none of the stuff that people were hand-wringing about are in the movie, guys. It's a really damn good movie. And the thing that's been the most impressive to me is that people are saying, like, I've never been a Superman guy. Now I am, because this movie was so good. He nailed it on all the castings. Nicholas Hoult as Lex is absolutely ripped from the Bruce Timm Superman animated series. He is perfect. I think David Corenswet, he is Kal-El. He is awesome. He is a really great Superman. I still need to see more of him as Clark, but he's doing pretty well. And of course, is it Brosnahan? Is that how you say Miss Brosnahan playing, I forget her first name. Is it Rachel? Rachel Brosnahan playing Lois? Probably my favorite on-screen Lois yet. And I love Margot Kidder. So, Doug, this was a really fun movie. I think it's great for all ages. I think that everyone's going to enjoy it. There's going to have those moments that are tear-jerkers. It's going to have those things that make you laugh a lot. I know there are a lot of people who say, well, I just can't get down with James Gunn's humor. And I'll say, it's not as goofy as like Guardians of the Galaxy, but it has those funny moments. So I don't think this will be the movie where you say, hey, you know what? I like his humor now. If you don't like his humor, I'm not thinking that's going to change, but it's way tempered down from Guardians of the Galaxy. It's not nearly as goofball. It's not. It's very much a grounded movie, except the fact that obviously you're dealing with superheroes, but I mean, like with the humor and the levity and things, it really sticks to, these are very serious things that are happening, and we're going to address these very serious things. And I like it. The movie had a ton of heart. It was bright. It was beautiful. I loved it. And I mean, it was one of those where, as someone who's loved Superman since I was a kid, to me, the test is, when I watched Brandon Routh, I was kind of like, oh, well, this is an interesting take. When I watched Henry Cavill, yeah, I like it. With the first 10 minutes of this, I was like, hey, that's that character I know from my childhood. That's Superman. And I think that is something that has been missing from Superman movies ever since Christopher Reeve hung it up. I think that really is something that was hard to do, and James Gunn did it. So I am very, very optimistic about what's to come with the DC Universe. I'm hoping that WB execs let James Gunn cook. Don't tell him what he needs to do. Let him create, because I think, again, this guy knows so much about comics, and he's going to give us those characters that are recognizable from the comic. Not we're doing our own thing, but recognizable as our comic counterparts. There's been several versions of comic counterparts, and this story is very much loosely based off of several other Superman characters, and I admire that. Mostly All-Star Superman, I think. I can go into that. I can put on a big rabbit hole with the comic relations to this. But I, as a comic book fan, as a Superman fan, as a DC Comics super fan, I like this a lot. And are there too many characters in it? maybe, but not for me. I think I looked at it as an episode of Superman, the animated series, or Justice League Unlimited, where it's like, this is an established universe. You're not going to have an origin story for every character that shows up. There are huge amounts of characters here, and we're going to use them. I like that. So if that doesn't bother you, I think that you'll probably really enjoy the movie. I don't see anyone who enjoyed Guardians of the Galaxy or the MCU during its prime that won't like this movie. I think, again, a Superman movie lends itself to that style much more than, Man of Steel trying to borrow from the Nolanverse. It wasn't quite the aesthetic that a lot were looking for. If you're wanting Christopher Reeve kind of Superman, I think this will be kind of the movie that you've been waiting for. And I think it's great for everyone. My oldest loved it. He says it's his favorite Superman movie, and he's seen them all. So that's great. Hopefully that means a whole new generation has got their Superman. And props to James Gunn, man, because when he cast David Cornswell, I was like, who the hell is this? I had no idea who he is. Well, I think everyone's going to know who he is now, because he was very, very good as this character. I can't wait to see more. I do have a quick gaming thing before I go. I pre-ordered it so long ago, I forgot about it. But the special edition, I guess not really a special edition, it was like a physical edition of the Soul Reaver 1 and 2 remaster did show up the other day. And like I said, I pre-ordered it so long I forgot about it. So when it showed up, I was like, holy crap. Soul Reaver, the Legacy of Kain series, is like my favorite series from the old PlayStation 1 era. I loved it, kind of rolled over into PlayStation 2. But I love that series. And if you know, it's hard to go back and play those old games now because they're so slow. They look ridiculous. It's better to keep the nostalgia in your mind. Well, they remastered this, and look, I'll be honest, it still has some of that gameplay jank. Like you can't, it's got the free-floating camera that you can move around. It's hard sometimes to get the camera to focus on what you want to see. The early PlayStation problems that we had with 3D, but the game is smooth. It runs fast. It looks good. It doesn't look like today's graphics, but I say it looks PlayStation 3 level of graphics, I think. It looks really impressive. And it's got that same amazing soundtrack and voice acting. Obviously, it's the same game. It's just got the fresh coat of paint on it. But it runs like a dream. And I started playing part 1, and I'm just like, what a nostalgia trip, man. This is such an amazing series. I tell everybody with these games is, imagine like the greatest like dark fantasy adults vampire kind of story you can imagine. It's like full-on epic fantasy in a dystopian vampire universe. And it has like such a rich history and characters. And then you have the gameplay elements of like a Zelda, to where every time you unlock a new ability, you can go to new areas. This version even has a map. That's nice, because we didn't have the maps back then. But it's an amazing game, and I'm so glad that I got it. But I know that it's obviously a lot cheaper on digital. Give me physical, give me death. That's the type that I am, and I'm glad they did put out a limited physical edition of this. So grab it up if you haven't yet, because I think it's on the Switch, it's on the PS5, it's on Xbox Series X. You can grab it now, but it's absolutely, if you never ever got to experience it, man, these are such incredible games. I think you should definitely pick them up, because now they are actually playable for current generations. Like my oldest was even interested, and usually when I'm playing a throwback game like that, he's like, nah, it looks ridiculous. So like I said, so it got some of that jank. Don't get me wrong, they couldn't remove the jank. It's like when they did the Mass Effect remasters, it's like they didn't remove the jank from there, but it is cleaned up and much more playable, I think, for audiences who weren't around during the original release. So yeah, amazing soundtrack. It comes with the soundtrack for 1 and 2 as well, which I got to try to figure out. I don't have a CD player anymore. How do you do this? It's exciting times. But guys, that was my week. I'd love to know what your week is looking like. I want you to go ahead and drop in the comments and let me know what you're watching, what you're reading, what you're listening to, what you are playing, and I will talk to you there.